Hi everyone, Susan Kennedy, Channel of Light, bringing you a reading for February 2023, and energies are high this morning with the presence of Mahatma Gandhi and an interesting time that we are going into in February. So always the past predicates the present and the future, and what I'm seeing and feeling and tuning into at the moment is the power of the voice of grace. And there is an energy going on the planet at the moment as we go into February about unity, around healing, and around collective consciousness. So Gandhi's energy, he was all about civil disobedience, non-violent protest. And what we've seen at the moment on the planet is a massive energy of collective grief. So grievances, grief, and grievances being where there has been a huge amount of injustice happening. So we've got the war in Ukraine, we've got all sorts of situations going on the planet at the moment. And the biggest one that comes to my mind in this energy of voice of grace, non-violent disobedience, is the murder of the young gentleman over in the United States. And what we're seeing is the abuse of power that was perpetrated there. So it wasn't about white people murdering black people. It's about abuse of power. And I think more and more what we're seeing is the decision by the parents, and we've seen this actually more and more in the past, but it's coming more and more forward now, that there are people there that are saying, you know what, tragedy has happened, there's been huge injustice, but we don't have to have violence in order to change things. It's almost as though the tragedies that are happening on the planet are so deep that this collective wound of grief is really touching each and every one of us. And I just have a vision of the parents putting out this huge voice, this huge energy that is saying our grief is so deep, but we want change. And I feel that this month, and what I see is that this month is a huge, huge time of healing of the wounds that maybe you are still working through. And you know, for many of us, we've gone through loss. And the last few weeks, the last few months of last year, the beginning of 2023, the energy of loss has been huge. Lost opportunities, revisiting lost relationships, physical loss, you know, where we've either lost physical capacity or we've lost those people that we love. And look, let's face it, all of us are advancing through our years, and there isn't a person on the planet that isn't slowly dying, because we're all marching towards our end date. So there's always loss. There's always a thing of, well, I could do this before, but I can't do it now, or I had this before, but I don't have it now. So what we are seeing at the moment is an ability to have the voice of grace within us, to be able to really tune into what we do have, to what we can do, and how we can step away from the expectation that we will be angry, or that we will be frightened, or that we will be grief-stricken forever. And so the way now that you handle change, this is what February is about this time, in this 2023 year. And this year is all about the energy of focus on self-love. Who are you? What are you about? Why are you here? So that pervading energy is so that you will come to see yourself as the light and start to recognize how you can be all of you and really connect in with that deepest knowing that's in you that is going to help you navigate through life. So February traditionally all about love, and we focus on love in February. Valentine's Day, Venus is doing its thing in the sky at the moment, and what I'm seeing is that the energy of your relationships in February will be very much online, inviting you and encouraging you to just become aware of how you can stay in your center, how you can stay in your love, and how you don't have to engage in somebody else's anxieties, miseries, troubles, problems. So that this month you have that opportunity to recognize the strength that you have as a light worker, as a being who is conscious, awake and aware of how you can actually help that person through their troubled times by just being you, by being in your strength, by being in your knowingness that every person has challenges, and that this month those challenges are for you to know what is right for you. So there is a divine order coming into play this month, a sense of what is right for you, more of a knowing of what is right for you, especially around your relationships, a knowing of your boundaries, a knowing of, you know, what to do, when to step back, and this sense of connecting with people in a different way. So allowing vulnerability to come to the surface without it feeling scary, or without feeling like you're giving away personal power. So vulnerability is a strange thing sometimes, because being vulnerable can feel like you are open for attack. And yet vulnerability, the way I'm seeing it, is softness and gentleness, to be sometimes a little bit scared and show that without the need for anybody else to fix it for you. So I have this strong image of collectively holding hands. Now, when you hold hands with someone, you kind of do this, right? So, you know, I'm trying to hold hands this way. Like if we were all in a circle, we were holding hands, we'd be touching each other's hands. And what I was being shown is we actually have to look at how we can connect with people more like this, you know, that if we were to put hand to hand, that we would be putting all of ourselves connecting with people that way, so that we are not hiding who we are. We're not hiding our frailties or our fears, but we're actually allowing ourselves to connect fully. So February, a huge opportunity to connect fully and to understand how that makes you feel. Scary? Yeah. So really interesting that the energy is about letting go of the need to be right, and being able to really go within and say, well, what does it feel like when I am a little bit vulnerable? What does it feel like when I can share myself fully with another? Now that might be your lover, your partner, your friend, brother, sister, mother, father, child, whatever. But there is a deep opportunity this week to be witnessed, this month to be witnessed, to witness and to be witnessed from a place of power, from a place of love. So if I go back to the people in the United States, that poor family that lost their beautiful son, and I distinctly remember the mother saying, I don't want violence around this. Please do not let your children watch this video of his arrest. And so what she was saying is, yes, we need change, but we don't need to go into the energy of violence in order for change to happen. Now, collectively, more and more of us are moving up into this 12th octave of energy. And this 12th octave of energy is a frequency. It's a place where those of you that are meditating, using sound, working with your healing, and really kind of living in the world, but having that other conscious or subconscious part of your mind online that is saying, how can I be part of the change? Now, you are part of the change when you focus on your love, your heart, your ability to not take somebody else's authority or direction unless it feels right for you. And right being, is this just? Is it fair? Is it going to do no harm? So I know Gandhi's energy very, very strongly is here. And he shows me this sense of most of us have hidden our power, that we've been potentially saying nothing, potentially not understanding our true power, and that our true opportunity for change comes from seeing it and being it. So being that person who holds peace in their heart, being that person who is able to, be vulnerable, open to change. And he's really showing me, it's quite funny actually, but he's showing me that it's about listening to the heart, and that the heart energy will kind of speed up, because there's very much an energy of sound that's coming for February. So I'd invite you to really look at the sounds that you attune to. Maybe it's time to get out some old records, or to get out some music that you used to love, or new music that you would like to experience more of. Because what we've got on the planet is a lot of noise. We have a lot of chest beating, and we have a lot of I'm being shown words that are being said that are not genuine. And I'm actually in the politician area now when I'm saying that. So there is, sometimes there's a lot that's said and not a lot that's done. And Gandhi, who was that person who was very much about civil rights, about justice, about acceptance, and about independence in a way, and saying, he wanted India to be independent. He said there's no more time for British rule. We are a country that needs to learn through our mistakes. And we as individuals have to learn through our mistakes. We have to be able to live life, do us, and not apologize for it, but learn from it. So I see a great coming of age this month for all of us. I see great changes in the way that you potentially live and love. I see you being able to see the path ahead that might feel a bit scary and a bit different, but saying, well, if I just take one step, then that will take me closer to this sense of inner peace, inner harmony. I'm also seeing the power of collective prayer. And prayer, we pray in many ways, and not praying to a God as such, but putting our words into the ether, if you like, up to that 12th octave. Now, the 12th octave keeps being shown to me as a frequency, a band of light, where those of us who are working with the light, and that's you because you're watching, but those of you that are interested in how you can have more awareness, more peace, more harmony, that band of frequency. So I encourage you in your meditation just to say, take me to the 12th octave of light. Because in that space, there is a collective energy. And if you could and are called to, is just to sit and ask for that frequency to go into it. And I have this image of all of us looking down on the planet and just saying, we see peace, we are love. Love is often talked about, and I know that I talk about it a lot because it is the frequency that I work with, or it's the frequency that I live in. And love is so many things, and I believe this year, and especially in February, we have a great opportunity to redefine it. What does it mean? How does it show up? How were we loved? How did we want to be loved? But what do we perceive as love? And sometimes for people, love is giving, it's gifts, it's acts of service. For me, love is just a state of being. It's that being in awe, being in harmony, just being in that space of complete acceptance of everything. So we often see tragedies like we've seen overseas and like we're witnessing. We're seeing a lot on the planet at the moment, still of floods, people being really moved from their comfort zones, moved from their homes, having to change. And while all of those things are difficult, they offer the opportunity for something new. And we don't always like what's new. We don't. But what can come from all of these kind of tragedies is the opportunity for other people to connect, to reach out, to do some good. And I did see, I saw the title of a book the other day, and it was I'm Black, so you don't have to be. And I don't know what the book's about. I think I've got a good idea, right? But I just went, wow, isn't that amazing? So some people have tragedies, so you don't have to. Some people experience things, so you don't have to. And what we have to understand is that from a soul perspective, each and every one of us have decided on this in this life and on this earth to experience certain things that are going to help us as a human being move more into our capacity for compassion and love. And we've also decided to experience things that are going to help other people move more into their hearts of compassion and love. Because it's only through compassion and love that we can evolve as a society and as a collective. So again, we have things happening here in Australia, and of course I'm going to talk a lot about Australian things, but I know these kind of energies are happening around the planet as well. So we have a situation here in Australia where in Alice Springs we've got youth running riot due to lack of parental control, parents unfortunately in the throes of alcohol, and children following suit and not being guided. And it's kind of a difficult time, but this collective energy is also about saying, where is the heart-centered approach? Where is the responsibility that as a collective we can start to look for different solutions that aren't about punishment, but that are about education, educating people, taking care of people, helping them through addiction, helping them through times where there can be a correct use of power. So alcohol has the power to lift you and open you, but also has the power to bring you down. And so I believe that for us as individuals this month, February offers this opportunity for balance. How can we become more in harmony with ourselves? How can we find that space within us that says, well, it's okay to do this, but not to excess. So I know for many of you, you are people that are driven, you are focused, and I just invite you to accept the gentleness that's happening, the stillness. So if something has been taken away from you, if you have had an opportunity that you perceive has been taken, or if your work is changing and you're not as busy as you were, if your relationship is not as intense as it was, the stillness is always that call to come back to what brings you joy and saying, well, if I'm not filling my life up with this, then what else would I be doing? And how else can I experience peace without that need for the constant drive? So as a society, we've become busier and busier and busier and busier. And this is a time for stillness. And again, Gandhi's image comes into my mind where a lot of the time he just sat. He was kind of saying, no, I'm not going to go out and do anything. I'm just going to sit and I will express my disobedience to unfairness and injustice. I don't need to go out there and do it, but I will do it in a peaceful manner. So peace is the energy for February 2023. The voice of grief and grace, I think, is something for you to maybe think about. What are you grieving? How can you bring grace to that situation? How can you stop railing against the injustice of life and maybe move more into a space of acceptance of choices that souls make? Because we don't know the choices that souls make. Only that soul knows that choice. So I really encourage you this month to be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to connect, be willing to do something a bit scary and a bit different. Just on that note, for those of you that have followed, I haven't been very active on YouTube for quite a while. Many of you know I went to Porto. I went over to Portugal to walk the Camino. And that was a very interesting journey because it didn't end the way that I thought it would, and it certainly wasn't the planned journey. So I will do another video on that. But why I'm bringing that up is it forced me to be still, and it forced me into a change. So Channel of Light, there'll be a lot more channeling on this channel. There will be an evolution that you're part of, that you witness, that you see. So at the moment, the channeling is, you know, we've got Gandhi here, but I'm not physically channeling him. We're having this energy of connection and communication. But more and more, there will be more channeling that comes through. More and more, there will be more words of healing, more tools, tips, and ways that you can connect with your own inner light, ways that you can connect with your own sense of who you are and what your soul wants you to know. So thank you for watching, and look, if you haven't already subscribed, it really helps us if you do. It helps us produce more content and be able to reach you and reach so many people with this energy of light. So all love, all blessings for February, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye for now.